I hope you're doing well. We are here for our weekly manifestation oracle message. We are just taking a look at our goals and our manifestations and seeing where we're at and how we should direct our energy and our focus and our intention and our actions. You know, so many times our manifestations can be blocked by seemingly unrelated issues. And so many times it's not like sometimes we feel like, oh, I just need to go, hammer harder on my project. But sometimes it's more to do with something unrelated to that specific thing. Like say you're wanting to manifest a new job or advancement in your career or more money. You might be tested with things that have to do with your love life and with your relationship patterns and things like that. And so it might be that if you kind of heal or come to some sort of revelation or awareness about your relationship issues, that suddenly you could have something come through with your career or finance, or vice versa, right? Maybe you're wanting to manifest a relationship, a serious relationship, something committed and long term, but you are accepting less than your worth in your career. And so that can have an effect because vibrationally speaking, you're kind of sending out this radiance or a vibe that is lower than your worth. And so it's not always as obvious as just addressing the issue straight on in mysticism and in spirituality. So let's see what we can do this week to help propel our dreams and our goals. Yes, this is confirmation. If you've been looking for confirmation on a specific issue, your intuition is correct and take action accordingly. So if you've been having something kind of like coming up in your intuition, if you have this idea that keeps coming back to you or something that just like won't leave you alone, maybe follow up on that, maybe look into it and see, what's out there and what your options are. I know recently I have been, looking for ways to propel my YouTube channel. And I had a feeling like something told me not to give up, don't throw in the towel, don't start a new channel over. It's not this one is salvageable, and so I found good coaches that have given me ideas about, maybe the things that I'm doing right and the things that I can improve on. So, keep following your gut, because it was by following my gut. One day I was like on YouTube and I saw somebody doing something for a YouTube tutorial. And it was not what I was doing at the time. I had to get sidetracked, but there was something about it. I just had this compelling feeling that there was something in that video for me. And there was. It was exactly what I needed. And this coach, I just love her. And I'm so grateful that I found the channel. So follow your intuitive hunches right now. The universe is definitely trying to lead you to something that will help you. All right, let's get more insight. Oh, favorite card, a new dawn. The worst is behind you and positive new experiences are on the horizon. Now, I know that can seem hard to believe these days. It seems like there's always a new worst just around the corner. But I think that, there are rhythms to even the dark night of the soul, when you feel like you're just in this dark tunnel and you're never going to get to the other side of it. But we do make it to the other side every time. And we are in a new age. We've gone out of the age of Pisces. We're in the age of Aquarius. And when big markers like that tick over and shift, there's like a rattling throughout mankind, and it's not comfortable to go through evolution. And it's like when you do a cleanse, right? It's going to give you all this energy and it's going to make you like all healthy and everything apparently. But before that, you get diarrhea like for days from what I hear, you know. I've never done a cleanse because it's apparently so unpleasant, but they're good for you, right? So kind of the same. It's that even though we're having these contractions like in a birth or growing pains right now, ascension symptoms even, we are growing towards something that is going to be a fresh radiance. And God's goodness will be revealed in the world, even though it feels like, you know what? What's so amazing about this is that with everything going on right now, you know, with the very extreme religious themes in that are going on with evangelical right-wing, you know, types, and people that are the big frontmen for these ideas right now. What has been so profound to me is to watch the secular people catch it before the evangelical zealots. Like, I have so many like people around me and in my scope and in like that I'm aware of in my feed and in real life that are secular people that have walked away from the church or that are non-believers, and even they are getting out their Bibles and they're like, okay, I'm reading Revelations, and it seems pretty plain to see that there are some, you know, pretty similar issues going on right now. And what the issue that they're taking with it is that they can see that the message is being twisted and perverted, and it's getting them worked up and angry. And to me, that's almost revealing even more of like God's goodness, because it's the non-believers that are fighting for the faith and the integrity of the message right now. So I think, you know, I'm just looking on and I'm like, wow, like, what a time to be alive. And I feel like I really relate so strongly to the people who have been alienated by the church or traumatized by the church. And I'm a person who's always believed. I've never not believed in God or in Jesus, or believed that it was real or not, or if it was just, you know, oh, this was this historical figure. Like, I've always believed in the miraculous level of it all. And I have witnessed so many of my, you know, brothers and sisters out there that are in my generation that were traumatized growing up at church because they were only, like, I was having this discussion with someone earlier. We take for granted that now we can follow, you know, many rabbis and pastors and get different thoughts and different perspectives and hear people's different voices weigh in. And for most of us that grew up before this, you know, the times that we live in with the internet and with so much information available, all we had was like one pastor. Growing up, maybe we went to our friend's church or something, and you're in your town, and so you have this guy, more than likely, who was just thinking, hey, this would be a career, right? I'm going to go to a little theology school, and it's probably not going to be Ivy League or go, you know, into depth, but I'm going to start a church, and we're going to give sermons, and it wasn't like a deep calling. I mean, not for everyone, obviously, but for probably a majority, it wasn't like a deep calling that they were born to do. They just pursued it as a career and as a business. Now you fast forward through the last 30 years or so, churches, like, some of them just buy their sermons from copywriters. Like, they're not even like, some pastors aren't even writing their own sermons. My mom, I've told this story recently, was having a conversation with a pastor, and she was like kind of debating some scripture, and he was like, well, I don't know, I haven't read that part. She was like, wait, what? You haven't read that part of the Bible? And he was like, no, I haven't read it. She's like, you haven't read the whole Bible? I love my mom. She's like, doesn't give a shit. She's like, you haven't read the whole Bible? You're a pastor? And he was like, well, not the whole thing. And she was like, I've read it 5 times in different translations. Like, so people are just given this one voice that they grow up with, and they may not resonate with it. And that person may be putting all of their issues and all of their baggage. And if they're not even in a calling and they're just doing it for a business, then are they really deeply spiritually involved in the process of personal inner transformation and, transcending their soul and all of this? So it's like, who are we really dealing with, a lot of times? So I could understand how, yes, they're sitting there and they're like, something's not adding up. There's something not right about this. And God knows how that, wherever they grew up and whatever their church was, had their own denomination and their own filter and their own projections mixed in. And so, yeah, I can see there's just a lot of baggage that comes with it for people. And so my aim is to be a source of spiritual sustenance and connection, and to reconnect people on their own, to have their own relationship with God, and, have their own relationship getting to know the Christ, and not have it be dictated to them by, big box packaging and curriculum and, pre-written sermons that were purchased. It's just not my bag, obviously. I'm always over here with no plan off the cuff, right? So, but I think that we get into a lot of depth. But the worst is behind us and new experiences are on the horizon. So I think that there are new experiences on the horizon. And I think that there is a rebirth of spirit and of hope and of creativity. And I think that people are really, when they're like, for instance, like the Kendrick Lamar performance and people just using their talent and their voice to do something that speaks to truth and justice and honesty. It is resonating with people so hardcore right now. And what we need to do is change people's hearts. Minds are too hardened many times. And I think I started to get into this last night about people, everywhere, everyone on some level is being disillusioned about something right now. And it's actually, even though we are in the midst of this dark storm, it's actually good, because it's when we're spiritually broken that we can let our ego go and finally be open to transformation and to change, and to finally listen to the what life has been trying to teach us, or trying to drag us like, tooth and claw towards growth and healing, and we just resist and resist. So many times, before we can really open up to our potential and our healing, we have to get broken down to rock bottom. And so on individual levels, we understand what that looks like. We understand that it's when, someone is in complete burnout, or they've, lost all of their closest friends and they're lonely, or they have come to the end of their rope with an addiction, or, breakup after breakup after breakup. It's like when people come to the end of what they can bear with themselves, they're at rock bottom, and we're familiar with that, what that looks like. But when it's a collective and the zeitgeist is at a rock bottom, that doesn't happen as often in human history. And it's never happened like it has now. I was just thinking, I just said at work, I just threw like a 20-second tantrum earlier. And I was like, our grandparents, or at least mine, because I'm an 80s baby, but it's like our grandparents are always going on and on about the Great Depression. And it's like they had it for a period of time and it was over. I'm like, we have like lived our entire lives with like one horror after another in perpetual warfare. I mean, it hasn't been as bad as World War II. Let's hope it doesn't get that bad again. But I'm like, you had one or two things that y'all had to deal with, and then you had the perfection of the 50s and 60s, 70s, 80s. Like, they got to live for, 40, 50 years in peace and prosperity and wealth and ease, It's like, are you kidding? What have you been complaining about? At least that's their demographic had it easy. If you were a white American in the mid 20th century, you didn't really have any problems unless they were created by yourself. Now it's just like they're everywhere. But I do think that this is going to bring people ultimately together for the sake of mankind and to a level of understanding and compassion and unity I don't think that we've ever seen before. But it's going to take us getting through the darkness, the self-centeredness, the self-servingness, the I want to protect mine and that's all I care about. We've got to let that go. We can't tit for tat. I know it's so tempting to want to argue with people and not let things go. And I need to speak up for my, it's just like we need to decide what hills are worth dying on and start to try to build bridges instead of holding grudges. Even though it's sometimes we've got to make ourselves go there and try to choose love. It might be a decision that we have to make every few minutes throughout the day, but we've got to choose it with all of our heart and our soul and our mind and our strength. And when we are held up against the heavenly court, that's what's going to be looked at. It's going to be our heart. It's going to be our consciousness. None of us are perfect. Our initial thoughts, our initial feelings, a lot of times are pretty shitty, but we don't have to stew in those and continue to feed them and choose those. We can shift our consciousness and our thinking. We have alchemy here, and that's exactly what we're doing. When, our fear, our laziness, our whatever it is, maybe we're being overly ambitious, maybe we're being underly ambitious, but when we change our shortcomings, when we can really transcend them and overcome the things that more difficult for us, then we are alchemizing that density forever, right? It no longer exists in the cosmos. It's been transformed. So the thing is, though, is when we alchemize those issues within our psyche and in our soul, it actually opens up all of this energy and manifestation magic that can be directed towards our manifestations. So many times you might notice that if you face a great fear or get over an addiction or something, like something big will happen that's good that'll fall in your lap. I hear this all the time from people that I know that have gotten sober. Something amazing happens when they reach their 1 year sober thing. Like they get a big opportunity. Many times it's like the 1 year mark, but sometimes it's a little after that. But it seems that when someone does something big, when they overcome a darkness like that, there's some boon that comes along with it. So even though the dark night of the soul, the difficult inner work can seem like a dirty job, it always comes with blessings on the other side of it. So you have the Midas touch right now, and every project you begin turns to gold. So this is a great time. When things are in flux, this is always an opportunity to meet a need, right? What is, going to be profitable is solving people's needs and their problems. And so when you can, hone in on someone's pain point, then you can use your talents and what you offer to meet that need. And that's a big opportunity in times where so many things are shifting because people's needs are changing. Their pain points are more intensified at the moment. So if you can identify, okay, what is your goal? What is your project that you're working on? What need are you fulfilling, and for what group? There's a certain niched group that you are solving their pain point. You're giving them a solution. And the more that they want that, the more valuable that is, the thing that you have, the more influence you might have, and as far as delivering that thing to them if it's a product or a service. But this is a good time to think about where there might be gaps in the market. We're in, changing times, so we're gonna have different needs. Different inventions create different problems and different logistical factors. So there's so much opportunity right now, but we are tired, we're overwhelmed, and we have brain fog, and so we have to really discipline ourselves to have fun, to play, to give ourselves the rest and the nutrients and the nurturing and the inspiration that we need to keep coming up with these creative ideas, because it's usually not when we're raking over our anxiety and just agonizing and stress, I gotta figure this out. It's usually when we break away, step away, go have fun, let ourselves relax, let go, and let the answer come to us. I have a hair in my eye. That was really annoying. So our last card is Make a Wish. This is a magical moment. Make a wish and enjoy its manifestation. We've got the Alchemy card. We have assurances that things are getting better, and we have encouragement to follow your hunches. There's something that your intuition is leading you to, and yes, this is correct. Your hunch is correct, so follow that idea. I love this. Well, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what resonated. And yeah, I'm trying to get to know my audience. It seems like I have such a wide variety of people. And I was thinking about how to hone in on my niche. And I'm like, what is my niche? Because we're here, we're every day we are on this soul path together. And I'm not even sure if you guys are tarot fans or if you are spirituality people, if you're personal transformation people, or if you've all just randomly found me and then you decide to stick around. So let me know in the comments who you are, and if you're a fan of this channel, if you like this content, what is it that you enjoy? Why do you keep coming back? What is it about this channel that nurtures you? What do you get from it? All right, I want to know more. Also, if you guys want a little bit more direction and help throughout this year, I know we have already had a pretty crazy time of it. So I have a prediction series that I created. It's in the description box below under my stand store. You'll see 2025 prediction series. You can go there. It's $10. Very, very approachable, but it's very thorough. You'll have a yearly overview with a channeled messages from me and a Celtic cross. There's corresponding journal questions that'll help you set your intentions and your goals for the year, looking at it from bird's eye view. And then you'll have quarterly readings that correspond to the seasons with their own corresponding questions. That will help you sort of get into the themes of what you're going to be dealing with through those seasons and help you prepare for the opportunities and the challenges. And then you will have monthly readings that will give you more detailed sort of issues that are going to come up through that month. There's also corresponding journal questions that will help you sort of workshop your life as you're moving through your weeks. And I like to structure my questions like they use in the Kabbalah Center, their classes are 10-week classes, and with each class every week there's these journal questions. And I love the way that they structure their questions because they're really simple, but they have you thinking about it all week long, and it really bring the work with you through your days. So I think that's really helpful. So I have tried to structure my questions in a way that I feel like the Kabbalah Center would approve. So, all right, you all. Well, I hope that serves you well. Like and subscribe to this channel. And if you would like to join my email list below, I have the link in the description box. I need to get in there and revamp the welcome series. It's more geared towards my jewelry line that I came out with a little while back, but I haven't updated it again to just generally cover the brand and all the information that we share all the time. So, but if you join that email list, you will not be inundated with emails, but you will find out if I have a sale that I'm running or when I'm going to come out with something new. All right, y'all. Bless ya. Ciao.